Actually, really my style has changed because one day I walked in a music store and they had a looping pedal board. I'd never tried one before. And pretty new on the market. It's a kind of phrase sampler. And I tried one of those and it was just completely blown away. It was fantastic. It allowed me to play things that I could never play before with it. It was a great practice tool, and basically you would play something, and then through the pedal board, you would start playing it back, and you start moving. And so as far as that goes, that's really my style has changed in that way, and I'm really developing a new approach really to this style, and it's really I'm finally creating the sounds I'm starting that I'm hearing. In the past, it's one of the things that was a real disappointment was playing wise. I never could quite get the recordings that I wanted or that I heard in my head. I didn't get those sounds, and now it's starting to really become possible. It's really fantastic. I've just scratched the surface of that. I've just been doing it for a while now, but it's definitely that's the direction I'm going in, and I'm very, very excited about the possibilities of that.
So, are you a one-man band with this new technique? Can you play that live?
Exactly. Yes, I can. Yeah. In fact, that's probably one of the biggest disadvantages of making the debut album without a band. Is that then how do you play it live, right? And sure, you can play with tapes and things, but nobody really wants to do that. So. But with this new approach, that's one of the fantastic things is that really you don't need a band, and that's, I suppose, a one-man band. I really wouldn't call it that. How about one-man guitarist, right? It's playing live with regular guitar loops, and I also use a drum machine that I control as well with pedals and things, and I use 2 looping pedal boards, and then I can create layers on top of that, and it's just very, very unique sound, but it's also a very, very large sound. I use something like 6 cabinets, right, almost in a surround sound fashion, and 2 of those are bass cabinets, for a real low end. So really, with the combination of the looping pedal boards, the bass cabinet, the drum machine, and the regular guitar, you pretty much have the same type of sound as a band would have, except that it's just one person, and it's just a great sound. But a lot of
you really need all of that for this new sound?
Nah. Well, I tell you, when I started experimenting with that was one of the big problems with the equipment. 1, it was very expensive. 2, there was a lot of it. I mean, a lot of equipment. I had to try a lot of different things. Everything from 14-channel mixers to the number of cabinets, the number of power amps and things. To answer your question, to do it correctly, you really do need that equipment. In fact, I certainly could use more if I could afford it, for one. Financially, it was a big strain as well. But it was worth it for the experimentation to finally get the sound that I heard. And I tell you, when everything's running in stereo, you're actually there, you're playing, and everything's working well. It's just, for me, it's really, that makes it.
Is anyone else using this sound and style right now?
Well, I can't say that I've actually heard anyone doing the same kind of thing I'm doing. Though in the past, there is a guy named David Torn who's doing that kind of thing, but it really is different. Different in the sense that I suppose we approach it in a different manner, and so it is a very different, unique sound. I really, I want to keep working at it.
Well, that's a really innovative technique that you've got. What are your future plans with this new style?
future plans, really, ultimately, what I'd like to do is to develop it to its full potential. And right now, I really think I've just scratched the surface of what's possible using this. It's really a new approach. It's almost like learning to play guitar again. But the great thing about it is, rather than replacing what you already know, you're adding to it. You know, like the regular, normal guitar playing is still a very important part of it. So, there's a lot more work to be done. But I'm very pleased so far with the results.
A little bit of new technique.
Oh, well, yes, I suppose some of the techniques that I've developed that I suppose are a little unique is I've approached a different way of using a sweeping technique. An arpeggio or a chord or a lick or something like that. What they do is they play one note per string, and get this kind of effect. One, you can always tell what it sounds like, and the idea is that you can play it quickly. Well, I've developed, I guess, a different way of approaching that. Rather than playing one note per string, I play anywhere from 2 to 3 notes per string. And you get a lot of faster sound with it, something like this kind of stuff. Okay. So, it makes it very easy to get a real smooth legato sound from it, from this kind of sweep techniques.
Where did you learn the advanced techniques like that?
Well, to be honest with you, probably the way that I learned them was trying to do the conventional techniques and finding that they didn't work for me. I was very impatient. You know, I always wanted it to sound, you know, like it does on the record or something like that. And so, from experimenting with that, I basically came up with what fit my style better, right? And found different ways of playing it. And really, that's how my style came about. You know, and it's been working for me. And I'm still developing that.
Are there any other techniques that you've come up with?
Well, I would say probably one of the techniques that I've come up with really is my approach to phrasing. Where the notes come in, that kind of thing, and how loud is each note compared to the last note. Trying to make smooth passages. A lot of that has to do with timing and those kinds of things. I've done a lot of it with string skipping as well. So those kinds of things have really helped me develop a style like that, and develop some techniques that are a little different. I don't want to give everything away though.
Are you planning anything new, any multimedia ideas?
Well, certainly, yes, I would say so. As far as multimedia ideas, certainly I'd like to do an instructional video. I think that'd be really interesting. In fact, there's plans in the works for one. So that should be coming up pretty soon.
When?
This is the second interview, take one. What we've done is we've set up the TV, although the color isn't the greatest on it right now. We've set that up so that we can monitor what we're doing. And I have to keep reminding Dennis not to stare at it the whole time.
Well, I was staring at the one camera.
That camera was on.
I thought you said it wasn't.
It was on that whole time. You asked me if it was on. I said, no, it's off. Because it was off. I had turned it off.
Oh, it was recording?
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to start the beginning over.
pedal board per speaker. Right, and it gives me a little flexibility. And it's those types of things that I'm still working out, you know, in detail. There's still a lot to do, you know. It starts to get very complicated, but at the same time you want to maintain the high quality sound, you know, and the more cables that you start using, right, and the more equipment, the more sound it can generate, right, and bad sound. In other words, hiss and unwanted distortion that you don't want. So you want to keep the sound as clean as possible. Okay. Other things will be live solo electric guitar shows using this new approach, and that I'm very, very excited about. Like to do some live albums, you know, because this type of approach lends itself to live playing very, very well, the looping and so on. In fact, it's primarily for live playing. The recordings, you can certainly make recordings as well. So I plan to do a studio recording and a live recording, you know, of that approach, and also do some solo electric guitar shows with that.
You've been very aggressive marketing yourself so far. How is the internet working to your advantage?
Well, the internet certainly has given me exposure that I wouldn't otherwise have, and especially overseas. You know, it's very surprising that it's not just the U.S. is using the internet. In fact, the whole world is using the internet. I've sold CDs in Brazil, Singapore, just places I would just never think of selling a CD there. And it turns out there's guitar fans all over the place.
Are you going to have any of your music or video on the internet?
Yes. In fact, that's one thing we like to do, is do a live webcast.
You still have fun playing guitar?
No, I do, absolutely. In fact, I play, probably every day. And absolutely, I love it. And it's great because you never stop playing.
What are your plans for the future?
Plans for the future so far? Definitely very committed to this new approach, to looping, pedal boards, and things. I'm doing live solo electric guitar shows. And that really is something I've developed, and I want to see it go to its full potential. And I've just scratched the surface of what's possible. It's really unique sound, basically. Hard to explain, but it's a really great sound.